Warning, what you're about to hear was intended to make you laugh. A lot. If you listen to the show and feel inspired, then that's awesome. But if you're easily offended or just can't take a joke, you should turn this off right now. Otherwise, turn this shit up and hang on. Welcome to the Get Up. All right. I'm JP, your host. Welcome to the Get Up podcast about pursuing your passions and having a laugh while you're doing it. Today, I am joined by, and I don't even know how to say your band name.
No one does.
Okay, what is it?
Ogemaw County.
Ogemaw County. All right, cool. I'm joined by Ogemaw County. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
My name's Joe. I play guitar.
Hey, I'm Pat. I do vocals.
I'm Cody Smith, and I play guitar as well.
Excellent. So obviously, as we were discussing right before we started recording, the whole band isn't able to make it because the whole band's kind of scattered.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, first off, what kind of music you guys play? What are you guys into? Plug your sites. What do you guys got?
Sure. So we've got a Facebook page. We've got an Instagram as well. Just at Ogemaw County is our Instagram. And then at Ogemaw County, Michigan, just MI, is our Facebook. We've got one music video on YouTube so far. And yeah, that's really about all we've got for social media.
A lot of stuff on Spotify.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, we've
check
got
us out
music
on
on
there.
Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got 2 EPs up there.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
we do like a southern metalcore type of music. So for fans of like Every Time I Die, we do that kind of style.
Lots of screaming.
Yeah.
Lots of screaming. That's what
Yeah.
you were saying, Joe.
Yeah, lots of people's moms don't like us.
All right. Well, Joe gave me a video ahead of time, The Cruel Intentions. I'll play that in a sec, but Ogemaw County, how'd you guys come up with that?
That's the follow-up question always to how do you pronounce the name?
Yep.
I'm
Why
sure.
is that the name?
Why is that your name?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's actually a name of a county in Michigan. It's about there making a Michigan
If you've ever
map.
been to Michigan or talked to someone from Michigan, Joe's putting up his hand to use it as a map.
Yeah, so it's about dead center in your hand for the Michigan mitten, but it's a real county in Michigan where my
okay.
family would go up north, and we continue to go up north. Me and the drummer of the band, his name's Andrew Leach. We would go up there a lot as well, and we listened to a lot of those bands that Pat was talking about. Every Time I Die, Norma Jean, a lot of bands that are inspiration for us. And
Okay.
I really wanted to capture something that gave us that same feeling.
Like that.
So,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's an homage to those trips.
Now, how long? So you guitar, right? You said.
Yep.
How long you been playing guitar? Let's get the bio right behind
Yeah,
the band,
for
right?
sure.
This is the VH1 behind the video or whatever the hell that show is. Right?
Yeah,
Behind
so
the music.
I've been playing guitar since I was about like 11. I got really into it after Guitar Hero came out, and then I started getting into. I'm dead serious.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Guitar Hero, dude. I was awesome.
Yeah,
Ziggy
so was I.
Stardust. That was my jam on the first one.
Yeah, I was like, Guitar Hero was cool, but then I saw people actually playing guitar when I started getting into like White Stripes, Foo Fighters. I was like, okay, that's way cooler. I'm gonna learn how to do that, and then I've been playing ever since. So yeah, play guitar, do a little bit of clean vocals as well on the songs.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of similar vibe. Like I just noticed my friends were doing cool stuff with music. Some of my friends were really into Guitar Hero for sure, but I ended up like
Oh, this is bizarre.
Yeah,
like,
like-
there's no way that so many people were inspired by Guitar
No,
Hero
yeah,
to
actually,
start
for
playing.
sure.
Any
guitar.
millennial band that you talk to,
Wow.
probably.
yeah, my buddies
Wow.
would just tear it up, and I wasn't very good at Guitar Hero, so I'm like, maybe I'll try the real guitar.
Right.
So I started picking that up, and I was actually decent at it, but then my love for guitar ended up morphing into like just the whole heavy music genre stuff, and I always wanted to learn how to scream, but I never really actually knew how to do it until like
It is a skill.
yeah. I tried doing it all through high school, early college, and I just thrashed my vocal cords really
yeah.
bad. And
So is there's a proper technique for screaming?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it can you can definitely fuck your vocal cords up. But I think it was like joining this band, I actually tried to like really learn how to do it, the proper technique and everything like that. And I'm happy it worked out, and it finally clicked one day. And Joe actually pushed me really hard when we were recording. He's like, "You can do it. You just got to have the confidence behind your voice." And then just one day clicked, and then
All right.
the rest was history.
Yeah, Joe's a very good coach at telling us how to play our instruments.
I'm kind of the dictator of the band.
Okay.
So
That's
But
my
we need
dad.
it.
My
We
dad
need
and
it.
his band, like, oh, he's funny sometimes. Fucking fire him all. I
Yeah.
just get new people.
Yeah, we record at Joe's house, so he'll like coach us through like
Alright.
takes and stuff, and it's really good. We got a good vibe going.
Cody, did you play Guitar Hero?
Yeah, I played Guitar Hero. It almost consumed my life as a young child.
I'm
so,
putting it out
yeah.
there now. I played a lot of Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and my
Oh, yeah.
dad's a drummer too, so I'm a lot close. No, I'm kidding. I have a cajon over there.
Did your dad chastise you for not playing a real instrument?
No. I can play drums all right.
Oh,
Like,
can you?
I can.
Okay.
I can.
Perfect.
I can hold my own. Like my fills and stuff like that aren't the greatest, but like
As long as you
I
can
can
hold
hold
the
a beat. Yeah, I can be a metronome.
Yeah.
Actually, another guy that I know, he used to live in this sub too. It's funny. We've been friends for years and years and years, and I didn't know he lived down the street. Like once I moved into this sub, he had bought a house like a year before. But he played guitar, dude. Oh my god, blues like. Guy just would shred. It was awesome. So we would just go to his house. His buddy moved in that had a drum set. He moved in, so we would just go over there. I play harmonica sometimes too, so we would just all go and jam. So it was awesome. But Guitar Hero, I played a lot of drums on Rock Band. That was the point of my thing. If you guys need drums, okay, go ahead, Cody. Sorry.
All right. I would say I probably started playing guitar around 8 years old, roughly, kind of getting into it. But I kept getting better. I've been in a lot of bands in the Downriver area before Ogemaw, and now Ogemaw is the band that I'm in that I like the best so far. It's,
He has to say that.
yeah, the greatest band I have ever been in and ever will be.
Is that only
Ogemaw.
because Joe's sitting there?
Boy.
Yes, exactly.
It's only because he's there.
But no, it's awesome music. I really genuinely love the music that we play. So what would that be? I've been playing guitar for maybe 15 years now, almost exclusively. I have zero talent in singing. Absolutely. I cannot.
I can attest
I
to
feel
that.
your pain.
Yeah, I cannot.
I
sing
tell my
at all.
girlfriend all the time, like, if I could sing, I'd be the triple threat. Like, that's the one piece that's missing like, from
It's-
being the full package.
At least you realize it.
Right.
And you don't try to do
I
it when
recognize
you're
my
not good.
shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my crutch too when I say, I don't have to do as much work now because I know I can't sing, and so that's what I tell people. It's like, oh, I can't help, and you gotta find someone else to sing.
That's
that was-
always the great debate of every band is someone's got to sing, and no one wants to do
No
it.
one wants to.
Right.
Well, that's why I started playing the harmonica. You know?
Yeah.
It's like kind of like guitar / singing without having to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the perfect transition.
So with the whole band, what do you guys got going on? I know you've done some shows. Like, how did the band start? Like, besides everybody just playing Guitar Hero, like, how'd you guys come together? Like,
So that one's kind of a long story. It started out with me and our original drummer, Andrew Leach, one of my best friends. He is probably one of the best drummers I've ever met in my life. He's very, very talented. He was in a band called Cassandra Nova with a couple of our other friends. I met with him at a coffee shop once after we graduated high school, and we started a band called All Systems Go after striking up conversation. It was like a pop punk Blink-182 style band. And then after that band dissolved, I started jamming with Cody because he was a good friend of ours. I knew he was a great guitarist.
Thank
started
you.
recording, of course. We started recording.
did you
some
hear of him on the Guitar Hero circuit, or
No, in the real guitar circuit.
You should have though.
Yeah.
It's a very prominent name.
I met Cody through my friend Thomas Camilleri. Those two were in a band called Soldier's Last Breath together. And so we were all hanging out, recording instrumentals that would eventually become Ogemaw. And then, like, 2 years later, we sat on the instrumentals forever. And we were always looking for someone to scream on them. And no one was good at screaming, or people that could scream were never willing to commit to the project. So I talked to Pat because I knew he was interested in music because he went to Berkeley College of Music, and I knew he was into this style of music. I was talking to him at QL one day, and I asked him, do you know anyone who knows how to scream well? Because I knew a lot of bands from that scene. And he said, well, yeah, I scream. So
well, I mean, lots of people scream.
Yeah. And at that point, I wasn't really super confident in my vocal abilities. So
Okay.
I was just like, I've tracked some demos before. I've tried to make it work. I mean,
yeah,
if
he was
you're having a
super
hard time-
nonchalant about it. So I was like, he's one of the quietest people that I've ever met in my life. So there's no fucking way you
Wait,
scream.
right. Yeah.
I was like, send me some tracks, then we'll talk. He emailed me a track while we we're at work, and I listened to it, and I IM'd him like 5 minutes later, like, please scream on my songs. And then we recorded a couple weeks later, and it's been history ever since.
Yeah, it turned out that Pat was really, really, really good at screaming.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super hard on myself in the studio. Like, Joe has had to pick me up multiple times.
He'll do
And
like
it's
5 takes of the same line and be like, "Oh, dude, I'm not sounding good today. It's not good." I'll be like, "You got to be kidding me! That was like your best take you've done in weeks."
Yeah. So I mean, I wanted to get my sound to where I was really comfortable doing it, like recording it and also doing it live. The first show we did live, I was like, it was a different mindset, and I was actually kind of nervous to get up there and scream. It was the first time I'd screamed in front of a group of people ever, and
You know what's so funny is like just hearing just the first time I screamed, not like sang, like or talked or gave a presentation. The first time I screamed in front of a crowd, it's just so weird to hear like that's considered now, right?
Right.
A kind of singing is the screaming part, and it's just consistently like first time I got up and performed, first time I got up and screamed.
Yeah, I feel like screaming gets discounted a lot as like a non-talent, but the amount of talent and practice that's involved with being actually good at it is insane. Like there's a YouTuber named Jared Dines who did a video series where he just goes up to random people on the street at like in line for metal shows saying, "Give me your best metal scream," and 9 out of 10 people that try to do it sound like they can't do it.
Right.
So I feel like it gets discounted quite a bit. I'm sure Pat could speak to that even more.
Yeah, it was actually watching you. So Joe's been doing like this side project called From Hell to Texas, and he's screaming on it, and that's
a whole other topic, right?
Yeah.
Like, how the hell do you pick all these band names?
They're pretty cool. They're catchy. But yeah, he's been screaming in that project, and he's come such a long way in like what it's been like less than a year. And we did a show together, and we ended up screaming at one of their songs together. And it was, dude, you were tearing it up. So he's gone from like not really knowing what he's doing with it, and no discredit to you, but like he's really figured out how to get it out of him. And that's really the way I think about it. Is like when you're screaming, you can focus on technique, and that's how you get yourself to the point where you can sound good.
Right.
But to turn it into something that's your own, you really have to figure out how do you get what's feeling in your gut and in your chest to come out of you. And that's where it starts connecting. And I feel like you've hit your stride. I feel like so.
Cody, you don't do any screaming at all.
I was just about to say, I feel like the endurance to be able to scream for a whole song is insane.
Oh, it's stupid.
I feel like I can scream maybe for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
Then I'm lightheaded. I feel like I'm ready to hit the ground. Like
And your
it just
vocal
takes
cords
a lot
get
out
shot
of me.
too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was my thing when I was starting out learning how to do it. Was like I'd lose my voice probably in 5 minutes after doing it.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
now I can do a 45-minute set without losing my voice.
That's kind of crazy though,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like you never would think that. Like you'd be like, oh yeah, I could scream, and then I think how long you think you could maintain a scream compared to how long you really can is different. And then, like you said, to build yourself up to be able to
For
to
sure.
do that for a long time. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah,
I
after
scream in
every
my
song
car
we play,
sometimes.
I'm like, I'm hands on the knees, just really huffing and puffing.
You can tell when Pat's been doing
You're not a
his cardio.
smoker or anything, right? You're not
No,
like
but
out
I
there.
used to
Oh
smoke.
man, I've known so many people that were screamers in bands that like literally like they walk off stage.
Yeah,
it's like, and you're up there doing that. Holy crap!
And some people think like it helps their tone too. I never connected with
Nothing
that.
like-
Such nonsense.
Nothing like a
Yeah,
little
like-
smoker voice. You know?
Support the crutch.
Yeah, like
crap.
there are the days leading up to our shows. Sometimes I gotta drink like a ton of tea with some honey and really get the coat throated or throat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Coat throated.
yeah, throat coated. But yeah,
Like where this is going.
it's more demanding than people realize for sure.
Man.
You can tell when Pat's been doing his cardio and when he hasn't.
Oh yeah,
Because like some shows he'll get like all 4 words of a line out, and then sometimes he might like skip or 1 or 2.
yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel bad sometimes.
Does anybody ever notice?
Nah.
No one cares.
Now, let me ask you that: Are your screaming vocals like screaming to where you can't understand it? Because I've heard some songs like that where it's like, I mean, I get there's a point at some where you just do scream, but sometimes there's you're screaming lyrics. Is there a point where you get to I can't understand what they're saying, or you don't? Are you unintelligible, or is it something that someone's gonna sing along to?
Is it a gray area?
Joe and I just shot each other a look because every time we track, that's like my biggest thing is I need
That's
to
my biggest
yeah,
critique every time is I don't know what the fuck you just said.
Yeah, I
Do
need
it
to learn
again.
on like enunciating my words better. But when I focus on it, I feel like people can hear it. And
So the
understand it.
emotion's there.
Yeah.
That's coming through the scream, but
Yeah, and I think like some of my friends like that have come out to our shows, they end up like singing the words back to us at certain points in time, and I'm like, well, evidently I'm
They know the
somewhat
words.
clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, are the lyrics published anywhere?
They might be.
I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, there's lots of songs I didn't know the words till, so I went and got the booklet.
Well, even like a lot of hip hop songs and like anything, I always mix up the words. Like for the longest time, I thought the T.I. song where it stacks on deck, Patron on ice. For like 5 years, I thought the lyrics were snacks on me, like he's buying everybody snacks.
That makes
Nothing
sense.
epitomizes being a baller than buying your friends
No,
snacks.
just like, yeah, he's at the club buying
We know what
everybody
Joe's
snacks.
going to do when he makes it. Snacks on me!
Yeah, so I feel like that's something that happens with every genre, no matter whether or not you're
man.
screaming. But
Yeah.
yeah, like Pat said, a lot of people seem to know the words to our songs. So
Well, that's got to be cool. So what was it like for Ogemaw, you guys getting together, like kind of finding your way together? What was it like? At what point did you feel you guys were ready enough to actually perform in front of people?
I feel like once Pat joined the band, he was the last member, I believe, to actually become a solid. Say yes, you are in Ogemaw. It didn't take that.
Awesome shirt,
that
by the
long.
way. Sorry.
Oh, thank you so much. The Hogan
Oh,
shirt.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Sorry.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like it really didn't take that long, maybe a couple weeks to rehearse all the songs, because me, Joe, Andrew Leitch, and Nick Schimmel, we all kind of knew the songs for a long time. We were practicing them instrumentally.
Now, were
for a
these
while.
songs that you guys built yourselves like over time and like just kept going back to, or like how's that process go? Is it you guys just jam and you're like, all right, this is pretty sweet, let's start doing this, or does someone write and then you guys kind of try to mold something around those words?
So it's different for every song. So what usually happens is either I or even our drummer Andrew Leitch or Cody will have a riff idea. We'll bring it into my basement, which is our studio. We'll play the riff. We'll come up with more riffs that go along with that riff at the same tempo, and then we structure the song together. Usually Andrew Leitch is like the go-to guy for structuring songs, and he's taught me a lot about that. So I've kind of taken over that aspect as well with him being out of town. But we'll structure the song instrumentally first. We'll lay down drums over it. We're always critiquing each other on how a song should or should not go. And then once we have an instrumental set in stone, then me and Pat start working together to formulate vocal patterns, then put lyrics with those patterns.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because they just bring like almost a fully baked song to me, and I'm like, wow, this is really good. Or like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, maybe this part's a little bit short, maybe we can extend it or something like that. But at that point, most of the song is pretty much done, and then Joe and I are just collaborating from there, which is cool because like I get to hear a new song all the time,
Right.
and it's like, wow, like I'm the first one that gets to hear this Ogemaw song. I don't really have much to do with like the crafting of the music or anything.
How long? Go ahead.
I would say I think it almost exclusively always starts with the music, right?
Yeah.
To me, that feels like, I mean, I guess in some instances I could see it going the other way, but a lot of it, to me, like, feels like that would be just where it comes from, right? You just start, oh man, I got this idea, this melody, or like you said, this riff idea in my head, and then everyone just kind of contributing to that. That's in my...
Yeah, I feel like for this genre for sure, because like everything is so, a lot of it comes from just like a gritty feeling inside of you and you're getting it out. And it starts with the sound in this genre. I think a lot of other genres where it's more like focused on the songwriting, like acoustic stuff, you can come with lyrics ready to go, and then you just supplement the words with the actual music. But I think for this genre specifically, it's got to happen the other way.
Yeah, Pat never comes to me and just is like, oh, I've got this really great idea for a song. It goes, like, he just starts screaming at me. We always have to have an instrumental first, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I got this one up. Let's play it just so we can get a feel.
Yeah.
So for you guys, and this is my idea, because this is a whole new setup. I didn't have the 4 mics on stand, so
Very
I'm playing
Joe Rogan style.
I'm playing with how to set up the monitors. Like, I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this one? So I got one like big one, and what I was thinking was like, over here can see that one, and then I would turn my computer and do the mirror screens, and then people over there would be able to see this one. Is what I'm going for right now.
It's all right. We'll learn together.
Yeah, right. As long as nothing unplugs. That's the key point here. Let's see if we can do it. I don't know. Haven't played with this part yet. Let's do... See, now I got to go in display settings, all that nonsense. Where is it?
This truly is like a
Duplicate.
mini Joe Rogan setup. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
very
I'm
nice, yeah.
totally jocking Joe Rogan style. I will fully admit it. I love
screen
the,
up. You're
the
your
Joe
own Jamie.
Rogan. All right, let's... Where did you guys shoot this at?
It was at a bar called the Rockery in Wyandotte. It's now closed, which is a huge bummer. It was one of my favorite bars. But yeah, our boy J.C. Mendez, Jacob, I don't know if you met him before, but he works at QL as well. He shoots video on the side, and he's excellent. Very happy with how this came out.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not great lighting in that venue at all. He actually brought his own.
He brought a
light.
spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Crazy.
shot it up, and it actually really helped a lot. It turned out really cool.
Oh
really-
no, the lighting, everything looks good.
It was really dangerous for his equipment. It's a very, very tight space in there. A lot of people moving around.
It's like half the size of this basement.
Yeah, I definitely gave JC a heads up. I'm like, hey, if I get a little close to you, I'm sorry. And there were a couple times where I thought I was going to like knock the camera out of his hand.
How long did it take to shoot the video?
So he shot the whole
This
set.
is live.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
all
Oh, really?
live. So
This is
he
live?
he just shot the whole set and then just layered over different clips that
Right.
fit with the vibe of the song. And it turned out really cool.
Follow up. Why are you guys so angry? I mean,
We're not
it's
angry, man. We're just
No.
kicking ass.
Yeah.
No, it is a kick-ass energy. I could definitely understand what you were saying.
Yeah.
So, I think you're good there.
Much like you're jockeying Joe Rogan style, we're jockeying Pantera style. That's what we're going for.
yes.
Well, everything's kind of influenced by what came
Right,
before
right.
it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the music video shows, there's no better feeling for me playing live than just going all out, moving around while you're playing your instrument, and you just see everyone absolutely into it. They're singing lyrics back to you. They're moving around. They're dancing to it. It's just an amazing feeling. It's awesome.
Well, and that's part of the performance, right? That's part of like going to see, like, I know that I've seen people play and they just don't even move, and it's like, cool, but where's the what you came for? You know what I
Right.
mean? And that's not
I agree. I always thought it was
Yeah,
a little boring.
That's actually one of the bigger reasons that I got into this band. Is like I never played in a band, done like frontman or vocals or anything on a style like this, but I'd gone to these shows for so long, and I was like, well, I have an opportunity to hop up there with some cool dudes and rock out. And I totally agree with Cody. It's one of the biggest like releases for me is just get up there, cut loose. And like Joe said earlier, like I'm a quiet dude, so when I tell people that I jump around,
I'm a
and
screamer in a
I
band
scream
and
on
jump
stage,
around.
yeah, that it takes a lot of people back, and it's fun for me to shock people, but at the same time, like that's just what I enjoy doing, like going out there and just banging my head at people.
Yep.
Right.
Pat is a very good front man. Also at the Rockery, he got picked up one time while screaming.
We have a picture. There's like 10 dudes holding Pat up like he's like a emperor. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
was that a
Exactly.
cool feeling?
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
It was fun to
was a
watch.
fun
Did you
time.
feel
while I
like a
was playing
rock star
guitar.
at that point? You're like, fuck.
Actually, at that point in time, like looking back at the picture, it's like, yeah, I might have a little bit of that rock star feeling, but in the moment, like it was very much like this feels like a great community, just like vibe right now. And,
Dangerous.
yeah, like I remember, it was for sure.
In the picture, there's a spinning fan, like probably 2
Oh,
feet
yeah?
from Pat's head.
yeah, yeah, it was,
I'll have to
Someone
send
gets a
that
little
to you.
overzealous, just throws them up.
Yep.
Yep.
Eek. Eek. So what do you guys got in the works now? So I know someone said 2 EPs, LPs
Yep,
somewhere.
we got 2
on Spotify?
EPs. Yep, on Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere you can stream music. We also have a couple vinyls left, limited edition, and then we have a ton of CDs that no one's ever gonna buy. So anyone who wants to scoop one of those up, let us know.
Do you guys bring those to your shows?
Yep.
Okay.
But when they find out we're on Spotify, they're like, "Oh, fuck that!
Oh,
We'll just."
You know
stream
they
it."
just
Yeah,
shut down.
naturally.
They're shutting down iTunes.
What?
Yeah.
No shit.
Because all the streaming. So what they're doing is like all the music that you bought will be available still to you, but they're breaking up like movies, music, and all that stuff into separate applications,
Really?
and then they're just shutting iTunes off. Yeah,
Oh,
because
holy
no
shit.
one's they said no one's downloading music anymore, which is funny. Like as a DJ, whenever I have played stuff, I always just downloaded it
Right.
because I don't want to stream something. It's hard to stream when you're mixing songs and stuff too, anyway, but to have like something just happen to that stream, it's buffering in the middle of a wedding would not be a
Yeah,
good look,
terrifying.
Right.
right? So it's like just always own it, And then like I used to, up until recently, I'd still buy like the physical CDs from like my more, my favorite artists.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in the music industry right now. Like a lot of people are like, "Where's the money?" Like people are having a hard time figuring out where they're gonna make money. That CDs aren't shipping
Right.
out like crazy. But
Well, even just tracking it for a while was kind of like up in the air. Like, oh, these sales look low, but it's because they've had a million streams that no one knows about, so they're popular.
yeah, I find it actually really exciting though. Like streaming platforms are definitely here to stay, in my opinion. But like, think about all the different opportunities that the industry has to grow in different ways that they can monetize things instead of just relying solely on selling CDs. It's going to be a really creative time, I think, the next few years for the music industry.
And also the comeback of vinyl is kind of
Weird, isn't it?
yeah.
VHS,
It's left the
cassette
market.
tapes.
Yeah,
Cassette tapes have
Yeah.
actually come back.
Yeah.
I've noticed that too.
But VHS, I don't know if that's ever coming back
I know.
because
I
of
know.
streaming.
I know a guy who has like a VHS tape company that will make VHS tapes for independent movies.
Have you gone back and looked at any of the VHS tapes?
Oh,
You
they look
might
like
have
shit.
Wow.
They look
I went
horrible.
back and watched a regular DVD and was like, what the fuck? This was amazing
This
back in
isn't
the day, and this
1080p,
looks
this
like
is horse
shit. Yeah, like holy crap. So how do you guys see that playing out? Like, as far as where the money's made, obviously this isn't a money thing for you guys, right?
No.
This
Hell
is just,
no.
I just
No,
want to
no.
fucking
Yeah,
rock
we're,
out.
we're a couple
Right.
G's in the hole probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think the biggest opportunity is like the way that people are going to experience music going forward. You think about like Warped Tour just died, and they're not doing that anymore.
Right, and that's crazy too. I mean,
Right.
that was a summer staple for a long time.
Yeah, so like I think a lot of
I think
people are
I've
going
been
to
to
start,
2 or 3 of them.
instead of wanting to go to like shows at a club or just hit a tour where it's just like 3 or 4 bands. I think people are going to start gravitating more towards like the big festivals. I think Warped Tour is going to come back. They'll probably do like a West Coast.
it already
East.
is actually.
Yeah,
They're
gonna-
just doing regional Warp Tours now. Like
Yeah.
not a Warp Tour, but like a Warp Tour East or whatever.
Yeah,
Really?
I think
Yeah.
they might do that annually. I don't know if they will or not, but that's going to be the model going forward. Is because one, it's more cost effective for the bands. They don't have to travel around the entire
Right.
country, but they're still going to see probably the same amount of people they would be playing to over the course of like a couple weeks maybe. So it's more cost effective for them, and then it's less production costs for the actual industry to make money off of. So it's just one day or a few days over the course of a weekend, and they recoup that all back. So
Oh, sure.
I think the festival, the way that people are going to make money off of the live entertainment scene is where it's going to go going forward.
How's that been for you guys? Like, how's it work for you to go and acquire like a gig? I mean, what's that like? And I don't see like I'm trying to
Jesus,
wonder.
that's a nightmare.
I'm kind of wondering like if you're the Guitar Hero generation. Had the way things were done with music changed already? Because like right now, like social media is a huge piece of any of this, right? I never had an Instagram or a Twitter or any of that crap before I started doing this, and that's the only thing that I do on it. Like, even if I post a picture about something personal, like chilling by the pool, like it was related to this. Facebook, I have one for the show, one for me, and I try to keep them separate.
Yep.
Like, I'm not real like, oh, me and my kids just went for a walk. I'm not that person anyway. But it's changed the game, like from when I was DJing and stuff and involved in music. A lot of like just grinding, trying to get those shows and build your name that way, because the internet was still. It was back like in MySpace and stuff, that was kind of like the only promotion people really doing. Now there's all these avenues. How does that affect you guys? Like, how are you leveraging it? And like, what is it like to get shows now?
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
Just recently, I was working on trying to book a short tour for us to do at the end of the summer. That's already fallen through because of several reasons, but I reached out to probably, I'd say roughly 40 venues throughout the country. I got responses from 4 of them. 3 of them were no's. That we have that date booked or we don't want to book your style of band. So it's kind of crazy. Most of my success came through emailing. Like even when we book local shows, emailing is usually the safest route. I imagine it's been that way for a long time. A lot of venues say to reach out via social media. You do that and they just don't reply back.
But the social media side of things is really important. Like if you don't have a good amount of following on Instagram or at least enough
People don't give a
engagement,
shit.
Yeah, that's how you prove that you're going to able to draw people into that venue, so the venue is willing to roll their dice and actually book you
Right.
for that night. So for us, at least me personally, I'm not the one that's just going and posting everything on Snapchat or Instagram all the time. So it's hard, like if I were to be dedicated to a band, I would say consider that as part of like my job. If like the band were my job. But like since it's not a primary focus for us, like I don't feel the pressure to have to post all the time about like, oh, we're tracking this song or oh, we're playing this show here.
Yeah, that's what a lot of bands that are currently trying to make it do. They'll post on social media multiple times a day. With me, that's just like so fucking irritating, and like people don't want that bogging up their social media. People who are really into social media, and I just feel like it comes off as like contrived and fake looking. Like, oh, look at us, look at every single thing we do, and it becomes a whole marketing scheme as opposed to this is a thing that I enjoy doing. It becomes something that you're trying to sell, which to me just feels gross.
Yeah, but it's the way it is right now. Like bands, like there's no other way. Yeah, there's no other way. Like that's the norm, so you kind of have to give into that necessary evil, if you will. But
I'd say not all the time though, because like look at bands like Pup. They're a band from Toronto. The way that they became successful is they just toured an insane amount. There's a really good video on Vice about them, about how they came up, and they talk about how they were like borderline homeless. They were making no money at their gigs. They were begging the venues to just feed them for the day, and that would be their pay. There'd be no one coming to these shows, but they just were grinding it out for years and years, and they finally started getting traction and attention. So I think there's still ways to gain traction without using social media, but that's definitely the mainstream way to achieve success, is to have success on social media
because it's an easy way to gauge, right? Like it's an easy way to gauge popularity, and like, okay, they're probably going to bring X amount of people, which is going to equal X amount of liquor sales and some food sales, whatever, and that makes
which
it
is
worth
crazy because like I feel like we outsell a lot of bands on the shows that we play on bills with, which is like no knock to them, but they might have thousands and thousands of social media followers. Our social media, in all honesty, is kind of dog shit. We'll have like a couple hundred followers, which is fine, but we're playing with bands that have like 10, 20, 30,000 likes on Facebook, but they brought in 4 people.
Well, and I think part of that is that you can follow someone and not be even remotely local to them.
Be a casual fan, yeah.
And like, and that's like with the Instagram, that's what I found, right? Like, so I started using hashtags, and again, like my Instagram is to promote this. So yeah, it is selling it, but it's like, hey, listen to these people's stories. I'm trying, these are people that are doing something, hopefully inspiring people to like take that chance. I've got someone that I know that his thing is 9 to 5s will always be there. They're not going anywhere. So it's what time better than now to try to do what you want to do, because if it doesn't work, those 9 to 5s are still there. Yeah. They're still going to be there. You can always just go back to that. Yeah. So which is, to me, is a pretty inspirational way to look, like, take that chance. But I've got people that follow me. I started using a hashtag like podcast or podcast life or something, and all of a sudden, like, my Instagram followers went from like 20 to I'm over 120 now, and it was only in a matter of a couple weeks, just because all these other podcasters start following you, and I listen to some of those podcasts, and they're in England, they're in different countries, they're in different states. So it's like, if I were to do something live, if I was a band and I had all these followers and thousands of them, how many of those thousands are actually local people that are going to show up? Probably not many of them.
Well, you can, though. That's the thing, is you have their attention. I think that's where a lot of bands might fall flat. And like going back to what you were talking about, a podcast, like all of these things are like basically small businesses. Right. You got to make business decisions about what you're going to do with the opportunity at hand. So like if a band's recruiting in 10,000 followers and they have people that are obviously engaged with their account and their profile, what are you going to do about it? And I think that's where a lot of bands fall flat, is like, how are we going to engage with people? Like, are we going to share more video content? Are we actually going to do contests? Like, and at that point it becomes, I think it's kind of cliche, but like content is king. And so like at that point, what do you do to engage?
I watched a fishing video the other day, and the guy was talking about giving away a fishing or hunting trip with him. Like, hey, if you're the blah, 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 and you win, you get a free fit anywhere you want to go. I mean, obviously you're getting paid if you're putting up that kind of thing, and you're just some dude running fishing videos. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of crazy to think about all that too.
Or he's just rolling the dice on himself, and like he's just like, I'm just going to take this as an investment, and it's going to pay off in the future.
Well, I mean, even like this, I make no money at all. I mean, and I went really cheap with the equipment. So, I mean, I put together everything for a really, really good price. The laptop, that was before all this, that's probably the most expensive thing sitting here. And it isn't for money. When I started DJing, I worked with another guy, and we put on shows, and it was basically like variety shows to help people get out. So there'd be rap artists, there'd be bands, there'd be some acoustic performers, whatever. It was just like a modge podge of different performers just to give them a venue. We would book a bar somewhere around Mount Clemens, and then we'd have these shows. I'd DJ in between. The other guy was the host and did all the booking and stuff. And like we did that for years, and it was cool to meet everybody and kind of hear their stories behind the scenes and what it was like. And again, back then was MySpace, and like you were super grinding it out because social media wasn't such a big part of it. And that's where I came up with all this and started doing this for the same reason, because it was cool to see those stories. Not just like, hey, this is my thing that I'm doing, but this is why I'm doing it.
Right.
So I mean, if it led to get some ads and stuff like that, so be it. I'm not going to turn it down. It'd be cool as a supplementary income, but it's not the focus.
That's kind of how we approach the
Right.
band too. Is like we enjoy what we're doing when we go out and play shows, like in Hamtramck and different places. And if someone's there to enjoy it with us, cool, awesome. But we're like doing this for us and hoping that people are going to connect, and we find that people do.
And any good opportunities that come out of this band, that's purely secondary.
Yep,
Right.
for sure. So I definitely jive with what you're saying about that.
You guys got anything in the works now as far as like another full album that's what are you working on currently?
Well, we're writing music very slowly kind of right now. Definitely not at the same pace that we have been for the first 2 EPs. Right now I feel like we're trying to solidify, who is going to be a solid person to play these shows for us. We're trying to focus more or less on playing less shows, but jumping on bigger shows that have bigger bands or something on it. Jumping on the bigger, better opportunities.
Yeah.
And getting a more solidified lineup kind of going, because
Yeah.
everyone's going their separate ways. They want to do the things they want to do. So
Like
We
we were
don't-
talking about before we went on to record, we've got one drummer, our original drummer, who recorded on the first 2 EPs. He's in Florida. He's actually in Germany right now for school. And then we've got our backup drummer that was filling in for a while, Dave Grooms. He was an awesome fill-in, and he just got a job with the railroad, so he can't really commit to any shows anymore because he's on call 24/7. We've had 3 bassists. Our first bass player, Nick Schimmel, didn't even know how to play bass. He's just a really good friend of ours. We needed a bass player.
Just pick it up and start.
Yeah,
along.
you can figure it out.
Yeah.
So he stuck with it. He did pretty well with it, but then he ended up going to school in East Lansing. He's going to be a doctor. Then we had our friend Andrew Emery filling in for a while, but he has his own band. That's his main commitment. And then after that, we had our friend Andrew Camilleri, who came back into town. He was in our old band, All Systems Go, playing bass. So it's kind of a reunion for me, Leitch, and him to be in a band again together. But he had a job come up in Marquette, so he's
up
out
in
there
Marquette.
now. Yep.
Yeah.
But
So-
he's moving back now, so we'll have him back in the fold.
yeah, I guess I should say this. The lineup is solid in and of itself, but more or less we're looking for a drummer right now. So just that one person.
Yeah.
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 I mean, we all approached this. We knew coming into this band, like we all have 9 to 5s, and this is something we do
Right.
on the side. So it's
Yep.
we have like the roster that we kind of pick from. Whoever's available is going to play, and if something comes up for someone, then we could usually have someone that can slide in pretty quickly.
Now, how often are you guys getting together and like, hey, let's record a song tonight, or is it just, hey, let's get together and jam? Like, we got the time, let's get together and jam, see what comes up.
We don't really jam that much. We
No?
mostly
No,
just
it's rare.
practice
It's
to get ready for shows.
Gotcha,
and
practice
we
for shows.
mostly,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
What I mean, we do a lot of like just a songwriting and idea. We bounce ideas around. Like I've actually been trying to get into writing guitar more a little bit, and I've been sending a few tracks to Joe here. and
Sounds
there.
like someone needs to get on drums.
yeah.
Yeah,
seriously.
we always typically write the guitar parts first anyways, so we're trying to just flush those out right now, and we can put like GarageBand lets you put fake drums behind things that are actually pretty impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
So we could just have that as a placeholder, but right now everyone's so busy with their own thing that they're doing. It's hard to get everyone together to actually jam or anything. We actually have a couple different opinions on this. Like me personally, I hate just improv jamming. I just never enjoy it. But on the other hand, like Cody or Andrew and Leitch, if you get those two together, they'll jam for an hour straight, like playing jazz or some shit.
Yeah. That's
I'm
really
just-
good, actually.
It's good, but if
We've
I get
been-
involved, I hate it.
We've been extremely lucky. Like the 2 drummers that we've had playing with us so far are just incredibly talented.
We're spoiled rotten.
Yeah, we are very spoiled, especially for being like a local band. But yeah, when like 2 people break off and start jamming at like a practice, we'll just sit there and kind of listen for a minute. And I mean, I enjoy listening in on it. I feel like I'm just
I hate it.
experiencing.
Hate every
But that's
second
just
of
my
it.
personal thing. You know?
I think jamming is fun to do. I think you can't really pull any ideas from it. for a real song, but I
At
enjoy
least for our
jamming with
style.
everything. Joe hates it, and we usually jam it at
You
his
guys
house,
ever just
so.
jam to piss Joe off?
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
almost
It'll happen.
exclusively.
Yep.
No, that was the guys I was jamming with. That's how it was too. Like the one guy, bass. All he listened to was like crazy death metal stuff. So that was like all he knew how to play. And then my one buddy, like I said, could play like real bluesy guitar. Like he could change it up, but he liked to play a lot of that stuff. And then the other guy, man, the drummer? Holy crap, that was the loudest drumming I've ever. Like, wow, I brought earplugs after that because I mean it was just like there was no like, it was just like it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was real tough, but it was fun. But we would always try. Me and my buddy would always try to like switch stuff up to try to get them into different things.
Yeah.
So like if I was playing drums and the guy that normally drummed, he liked to sing too. So I would play drums once in a while, and it would be a totally different beat than he would normally be doing. And then the guy with the guitar, we would just start jamming, and we'd be basically playing, trying to get them to follow along to break them out of just the one thing that they always did. So
Yeah.
it was
Nice.
interesting.
It was interesting joining this band. I think like I didn't really know what to expect joining a band. Like I was probably 26, 27 when I joined this one. And I think a lot of bands when they form when you're younger, like I formed a band in high school and I played guitar in it. And all the guys that I formed that band with, we listened to the same exact type of music. So there was never any clashing or anything. It was always like, oh, we know
This
what we're
is-
going to do
right.
because we listen to the same music. But I know Joe's listened more to like classic metal, and like I'm more into like new, like mid-thousands, what might be called like screamo. So like Joe and I go back and forth on like what we like. So I didn't really know what to expect with that, but it's actually kind of, I find it's challenged me musically.
Cody,
which
what
is
about you? What kind of music
I
besides the music you play?
Right. I definitely grew up on like the big four of thrash metal. That got me into music.
What's the big four of
The
thrash
big four
metal?
of thrash metal is considered like Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer. That's what made me get into metal from the very beginning. And I still love that very much, but I've definitely branched out more since then. I listen to genres like metalcore, screamo, hardcore. I love all sorts of music. I can listen to anything in any genre and probably find something that I like from it.
We were quizzing Pat on the way over here. We were
Those
Pat-
those always suck.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
dad will do that, but his will be from like the 50s and 60s. Oh, you know what song this is? I don't know.
Oh,
We played like 5 Pantera songs in a row, and every time a new song came out, we're like, Pat, guess who this is? I don't know.
No, yeah, it's definitely embarrassing, but I mean, it is what it is. I didn't really get into like heavy music until I was like 13, 14, 15, and at that point I was like really wanting to get into what was new and exciting. So the oldest I ever got was like Iron Maiden, and that was like,
So how do you feel that that's evolved, right? Because I mean, like the heyday of metal was back in the 80s and
Yeah.
even a little into the 90s. How do you see that transition? Like, how does that affect when you guys play shows and create music and stuff? Like, do you ever like, oh man, this is just the music I love, or like, have you ever thought about trying other styles just because of being able to build a following, or like do you play with different,
Yeah.
experiment with different sounds, or
So
we don't do much of that in this band.
no?
we definitely don't play this genre because it's what is
Well,
popular.
yeah, obviously.
It's I feel like right now that metal is definitely not in a place where it's trendy at all. It's got like its niche following. When I was in the pop punk band with our friend Andrew Leitch and Andrew Camilleri, that was something that we both enjoyed, but we thought could gain a little bit traction with like mainstream success, but it just never panned out. It rarely does for bands anyway, so it's whatever. But yeah, I don't know how much traction we can how much traction we can gain playing the style, but
Yeah, we solely do it just for our own
our entertainment, yeah.
Our entertainment. We don't really go into it expecting anything.
Like, I mean, we'll do stuff on on the side too. Like Andrew Camilleri, he'll write some really cool acoustic guitar parts, and Joe's tracked a few of those for him before.
Yeah, working on
that
those.
music is really cool, and it's something that is nowhere even near close to what Ogemaw's sound
No,
is.
we've all got our own side projects going on
Yeah.
too, musically. So
yeah.
With seeing how things like YouTube can just propel someone. Like, dude, I looked at this fucking news article this morning. This kid's 12 years old and he's a streaming video game player, and he's posing with a Bugatti in his driveway and shit. It's like this kid's fucking 12 years old.
I never
in
understood
video.
that.
I
how
told
that
my girlfriend, I was like, should we just because right now he's struggling in school. Should just say fuck it and just let him play video games and try to get good. And then
Yeah, people get like
Win the lottery.
tutors for their kids to play
I
video
know.
games.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's
There's
wild.
like Fortnite coaches and crap. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
What?
but seeing how YouTube's impact on music, and like that was one of the things that I noticed was from seeing both like before the grind, before the social media and all that existed, and now seeing how it is still a grind, but it's kind of weird because it seems like it's less of a filter, so that like really good stuff can actually make it, because now it feels like every idiot can make it, as well as making it easy for really talented people to make it too. But it's so much work, and seeing you only have one video, do you ever think about boosting like that kind of profile so that there's more visual stuff out there for you guys to
I think if it was
cash
a
in on
goal,
that?
if it was a goal for us, we'd probably do something different with our YouTube channel. But YouTube, definitely the market is just so saturated.
It is.
And
Even this.
yeah.
It's,
And
holy crap.
it makes it very difficult for even like the people that are trying to find new talent. Like they got to get creative in the ways that they're targeting that stuff. And I think there are a few startups that are trying to do that with apps and help people figure out how to funnel the right people to the right contacts. But I think right now it's just the name of the game. Too many people, and it's hard to find that needle in the haystack, harder than ever, I'd say.
Not that that's your goal. I mean, just if it happened, right?
Yeah.
And again, like you said, like kind of promoting, getting more people out, because the more people you have, the easier it is to book a show, because you can be like, hey, I got this many people.
Yeah.
It is kind of like a weird tangled thing, right? Because
Right.
if the show part is what you guys love, like that's the part, the cool feeling, you have to kind of do
has
some
to
of
go
this stuff.
hand in hand.
Get it right.
Yeah.
You got it, exactly the same thing with this, like trying to do this, but then I'm tied to the stuff that I don't really like, or even DJing. That was one of the things that drove me nuts about DJing, is just I have to have music that I don't like.
Right.
Like I'm buying something that otherwise I would never listen to ever. And then it was always bad too. Do you ever get requests? Because that sucked as a DJ.
no,
No.
with this style of music, you don't really get that
You
happening
never
a
know,
lot.
man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how many times have we seen people put their spins on?
Oh, actually-
on do a cover song and just put their own spin
Yeah,
on it.
Well, we do
get
do
requests.
that, yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
We
So when we first started out, we didn't have enough songs to fill out a full set list. So we'd end our set playing like something completely different, cover wise. We'd play like Fall Out Boy songs, Taking Back Sunday songs, and people would flip out over those because that was what was cool when we were in high school.
Right.
So we did that the first couple shows just to fill out space, and then now the people that have stuck with us, whenever they come to a show,
They want to see it.
they want to see the Taking Back Sunday song. They want to hear the Fall Out Boy
the
song.
day to remember.
Yeah, I've
all
got
of
friends
that.
that'll ask like, "Hey, have you guys tried thinking about covering this song?" And like, I'm like, "Well,
Now we get suggestions
yeah.
for it, and
Well, see, it's funny because my dad's in a cover band. That's what they do. They don't do originals, right? So, yeah, one of his older iterations of his band, they did do originals, and then it was like a behind the music episode, like heart attacks and all kinds of stuff, like the changing of everybody. So
Yeah.
now, but they're purely cover, and I'm guilty of that. Dad, you should start playing some of this. Dad, play some of that. It was one time I showed him a Chili Peppers song, and he was like, "Oh, maybe I'd play it, but that guy can't sing." And like, like super critical. It's just hilarious. And so the people that he plays with are a little bit younger than him, and they're always like, "Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we've tried to, but he's stuck on this certain one." And they add new songs every once in a while.
Yeah, I
but-
think what's interesting about us playing covers is like we want to do something that's going to please a lot of like our friends or the people that usually come to our shows. And sometimes our friends will come out and they're not necessarily fans of this genre, but they'll come out just to support us as friends. So
Yeah.
we'll throw something in there to please them too. But it's like, how do we do that and not stray so far from our sound but also give people what they want? And I think we've found a few of those songs, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's definitely something we're
Yeah.
aware of. Is like we don't want to really kill the vibe by doing something way out there.
especially if we're on like an all metal show with all other
Oh,
metal
yeah.
bands, or we're opening for a touring metal band, we're not about to play "Sugar We're Going Down" by Fall
Right.
Out Boy right before some deathcore band goes on from
yeah,
out
that's
of town.
not really like handing it
No.
off very well.
That's
For
quite
sure.
the transition between.
Yeah.
What's been the most awkward like show you guys ever performed? Have you ever done one where it's just like, yeah, we are not the right music for this?
I mean, I feel like we play.
Oh, that one at Grizzlies when it used to be Brass Monkey,
Ooh,
the
yeah.
variety show.
Yeah, we played a variety show. It was
We had like comedians and opening for us,
Interesting.
stand-up
Yes.
comedy, and then
Okay.
after us was so we had two comedians open the show, then a ska hip hop band played next.
Yep.
then us screaming
Yeah.
and playing breakdowns.
Yeah.
And then after us was a hip hop duo.
It was something.
It was neat, but oof,
Yeah, it was.
it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about that show is like we actually had a lot of people come out for us that night. So like no
We
matter
did,
no
yeah.
matter when we've played shows like that where it might be a little bit awkward, but one of the bands is a little bit different. Whenever we're playing our sound, and there's definitely our energy in the room. So like while we're playing, I don't feel any type of pressure to conform to anything that's going on inside the venue. So
At that show, it was the build up to us playing because me and Cody were sitting at the bar together, and Cody was just like, "Oh my god, kill me! Like, let's just get this set over with and get out of here."
Just the contrast and what was going on was just too much.
It was shocking.
Yeah. Oh my god. I will say honestly, being in this band for the most part, there hasn't really been any awkward shows per se. Not really anything bad. In like past bands that I've been in, I feel like for months on end, the last band
The
I
whole
was
thing
in,
was awkward.
yeah, the whole thing was awkward. Like it was we were like a metal band, and I feel like for some chance we were purposely put on like punk shows or like pop bands or just rock, something that totally did not match us at all. So everyone just kind of looks at us with blank faces, like in the crowd, like, when are you done?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let's get out of here. No one likes us.
I felt that. I think part of that though is like I don't think there's many bands for us to play around in this area, and we like playing local. We don't really travel far.
Yeah, this style is kind of dead around here. Back in like 2011, this style of music was super hot, and it was a hotbed for bands that were actually coming up. A lot of bigger bands used to come through the Modern Exchange in Southgate. Bands like A Day to Remember, bands like, I don't know, who else came through there, Pat?
Even the
Yeah.
Wonder Years played
Wonder
there
Years
before,
played
yeah.
there.
Devil Wears Prada played there.
Yeah, lots of big bands.
Yeah.
Bands that are massive
So a lot of
now.
bands just taking TV show and movie names now? Or?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a huge thing. Yeah.
for sure.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a huge trend.
Yeah.
So what do you see like that? So there were some other interesting names that were thrown out there, right? What's the creation process like? For me, it was a pain in the ass.
Titling stuff?
Yeah, like coming up with that name. I feel like with bands, with music, you could just come up with something and it could be catchy.
You know that scene in Pineapple Express where he's naming the different strains of marijuana? It's basically that.
Basically that.
I mean,
There was no formula like
No.
your street you grew up on and your last name, and then
You could honestly use that, and honestly, I think band names stick because the band is good, and they like that. Really,
Yeah.
I don't think a band name really.
I
is
think most
indicative of
band
anything.
names fucking suck. Like Foo Fighters, that's a terrible band name in theory. Like if
Yeah.
you didn't hear them before, but then you go watch a show,
Yeah,
they're
like how
really
big
good.
Yeah,
Like-
I think song titles and album titles are definitely more important than an actual band name.
Yeah.
But even then, we have hard times with that stuff too, because we don't take any lyrics and apply them to a title of a song.
right.
Or
I was
anything.
just that was like
Yeah.
what was on my. Do you follow that rule or like,
Nope.
No.
A lot of our song titles never actually come up in our lyrics.
Yep.
A lot of our song titles are derived from like movie lines or inspired
Okay.
by movie plots.
Yeah.
I try to do that with my episodes. I try to make horribly stupid funny puns.
Yeah,
So
when we're recording in Joe's basement, we actually throw on like old '80s horror movies and on
Yeah.
the TV in the background. And it's just our vibe. Like it gets me just turning to the left and seeing some like The Shining playing or something. Just really, I don't know.
I just watched the latest Halloween. Have you guys, speaking of horror movies,
Like the newest one that was just
Yeah, the
released.
newest one,
Yeah.
yeah. Did you see it?
Yep.
did you like it?
It was fine.
I thought it was kind of a cool ending. It's so weird. How do you feel about this? Sorry, I go all over the place.
No,
It's just
that's fine.
interesting, and that's
No,
what
I
I'm
love a
trying to
good
do here,
tangent.
right?
Yeah.
The recycling of stuff, especially when they say like, here's movie 1 through 8, and then here's movie 9. Forget everything that happened
Oh,
after
with
the first
Halloween,
one.
where they just
Halloween just
pretended-
basically erased like 20 years of films. Just said,
Yep.
nope, never happened.
None of that is canon anymore. Yeah.
And even changed the narrative a little
Yeah.
bit, where I mean, he was always her older brother, and in
Yep.
the second one, or in this one, it's like, oh no, that was just something that someone made up. That wasn't true.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a little ridiculous. Whoa. I feel like it's a little ridiculous with like how movies are just recycling old franchises that were successful just to do like a cash grab. What has happened to Star Wars just breaks my heart, and I try not to think about it.
What kills you about Star Wars?
I don't know, man. Did you see the last one? The last one that was what was it? The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
You
it.
see that one?
Yeah, I did.
Woof.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I mean, in all honesty, if you put that movie side by side with any of the old ones to show it to anyone that's never seen any Star Wars before, they'd be like, this is not even close to being the same type of movie at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, are you guys all shared in your love of Star Wars like Joe?
Yeah, I really like Star Wars.
We've never actually talked about it.
No, we haven't. No.
I'm glad this is a good opportunity for all of us.
Let's put it all
Get
out
our
on the table.
love for Star Wars out. Yeah, I don't know.
Because it seems like there is either like, okay, it's an okay movie, or holy crap fandom. And it's funny because I always enjoyed those movies, but I feel like I have a different viewing sense than like most of the world, because like I'll see movies get panned, and to me it was like, yo, it's not going to be an Oscar. You knew Transformers wasn't gunning for an Oscar unless it was like visual effects. So like, just shut your brain off and just enjoy like being lost in another world. It doesn't need to be. I don't care if there's like a few plot holes here and there. Like super glaring ones can break up the.
I don't know.
But
I just feel like with that newest Star Wars, The Last Jedi, I feel like so many things were shoehorned into it. Like, how can we possibly put Yoda into this movie so we can sell more Yoda toys? I feel like that's what happened.
it's Disney now.
It was just exhausting from start
They're
to
gonna
finish for
kill
me.
But I get it. But like, what it feels like they did with that is, instead of just rebooting the whole thing, it feels like it was like, all right, let's tell the same-ish story, and just for a new generation to introduce them. But so what I wanted to say was, do you think that the original Star Wars, those three movies, hold up as well now for the younger generation? Like, if your kids now, like if you had kids and they went and watched Star Wars, you were like, oh, you got to see Star Wars. I love it. This is why Dad dresses up in a robot, whatever. And they watch it. Are they going to be like, Dad, you're right, this is amazing? Or do you think it hasn't aged as well? I mean, besides the visual effects, obviously.
Even still, I think the practical effects look better than all the CGI stuff they do nowadays. Because like, I didn't get into Star Wars until I would have been like 7. So like the year 2000 is the first time I watched Star Wars. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so like those old movies, I love them. But
So it still did resonate. But
Yeah.
did you see the originals, or were you seeing like the special editions,
No,
the
I
one where
watched-
Lucas went back and digitally
yeah,
edited in
that's-
a bunch of crap?
that's actually all I knew because I had those on VHS. So I didn't see the
Did you have
originals.
the 3 set with the gold,
Yep.
like Darth Vader? Yeah.
Yep, I
That's-
still
that's
have it.
somewhere down here.
Yeah.
I think the other thing for like kids nowadays is like, it's not only just about that movie. Like, where else are they gonna actually engage with these new characters? And I think like, think about how often little kids are holding tablets and they're holding phones all the time, and like they got the apps that
Yeah.
are games. So like, I don't know that any of that stuff is gonna be curated for the older versions of Star Wars. It's all gonna be the present day stuff generating money. So I think it'll be very hard for kids now specifically to like get into the older ones unless
Not
they have
if
like
you're my kid.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta have a direct influence with like an older cousin or like your aunt and uncle or
Right.
something, or your dad. So
What's the movie each of you would like to see rebooted or updated or have a sequel to it? If any, because I mean, I don't like it all either, all the regurgitation, but there's one movie I would like to see.
So for me, I feel like anything that I like enough to be,
Has been.
yeah. Well, no, even anything that I do like enough that hasn't been, I wouldn't want it to be because I'd be so scared that they'd fuck it up and I would come to hate it. It'd become like a trendy thing to like again. I don't know. Like if they remade The Shining. The Shining's my favorite movie of all time. If they remade that, I would have such a fit just because I feel like they nailed it so perfectly the first time. Why would you do it again?
You just pick out all the imperfections in it.
Right, yeah, like, oh, they didn't do this like the first one did.
Yeah.
This person's not nearly as good as Jack Nicholson is. Like,
What is this bullshit?
Well, do you
What
think
is
that's like
this bullshit?
that's something we can trap ourselves in though? Like,
Absolutely.
oh well,
Yeah.
because I revere this one so much, no matter what gets made, I'm gonna
think
something
it's
wrong.
shitty. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
yeah, that's
Pat, what about
interesting.
you?
I'm not like a big movie dude
No?
at all. Like I will sit down and enjoy a movie, but like for me to walk away and like understand all the different layers of what goes into like movies, that's not my thing. I've always been like very much into music, so I don't really have like a movie that I'd be like, yeah, remake that. I'd be interested. And like a lot of the Disney, like the stuff that they're remaking now, there's a couple of those that I'm like, yeah, I'll go check it out just to see. Like that was something I saw when I was a little kid.
So you're
but, like,
never that. You're
I'm
never that like, damn, I just saw that new trailer. I gotta go watch. I gotta go see that.
that doesn't get me going.
Okay, all right.
All right. Also, full disclosure, I am not a big movie guy at all. But I do love sitting down. I love watching comedies and just sitting down, doing nothing else besides laughing my ass off at something, like horror movies too. But I guess if I had to choose, like my 2 favorite funny movies of all time are one
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery, no, is Billy Madison and Superbad. Like
Okay.
those I can watch probably.
I would watch a super bad sequel.
I would too. I just love those movies so much. I can watch them thousands of times and laugh every single time. If I were to see like a sequel or something, I think it would be cool to see a sequel of those.
To Superbad.
Yeah.
I can
not a
see
bad
that.
option.
Yeah.
No,
Like I said-
actually, it
like I
wouldn't be,
said,
right?
yeah.
Also,
What if, like, Jonah Hill or what's the other one?
Seth Rogen's in
No,
it.
no, the
Michael Cera.
Michael Cera. If Michael
Cera,
Cera,
yeah.
like, grew up to be a police officer with Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious. See,
That's not a bad
hilarious.
idea. Yeah.
Absolutely great.
You should pitch this.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it gets bad, right? So movies, like, I went to film school for a semester before I couldn't afford to live there in Chicago and moved back home and then had a kid.
That'll do
but
it.
like film, yeah, life, right? Film was what I wanted to get into, and I just like always just love movies and like replay quotes, and like I'll say quotes all the time, and it gets to the point now that Megan, when we're watching something, I'll either say what they're gonna say before they say it, or like right
As
when
they're
they're
saying
saying
it on
it, and
cue.
she's like, well, if you already know what they're gonna say, why don't you just write these things yourselves, and then we could be ready. So I've thought about it, but that's a hard industry to get into too.
Yeah.
So what's your reboot /
Gremlins.
sequel?
I would
Gremlins.
love to see a new Gremlins.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like they could do that pretty good now.
Yeah.
I'd be scared though because I wouldn't trust them to not just CGI everything.
I agree. They may. I think there is a little bit of a renaissance of the practical effects. It's not obviously in the big budget movies, but there has been like a
Yeah.
leaning in some
The new
some
Dark
films.
Crystal
Yeah,
Netflix stuff,
the
that's
show.
supposed to be all practical
Yup.
effects, I think.
So like
Yeah.
there is a little bit of that coming back where it's like, hey, go to the practical stuff because it looked better, or there's the nostalgia for it. So there's a very real possibility they could do that. But I would love to see, like, I went to Disney World 2 years ago now, and one, because in the first Gremlins they loved Snow White, so it'd be really funny to like see the Gremlins at Disney, see like Snow White,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But then also because like talk about a place that's already sadistic enough, and then now you've got these gremlins running around just terrorizing the rides and stuff. To me, I
That'd be
mean, they
great.
could, yeah, because I
Genius.
love the second one in like a building, like a smart office building. How much funny it was
Yeah.
to me, like that was part of it, right? Like kind of like, aha, this is kind of a little scary, but
Yeah,
it's
theme park
fun.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Theme park
that's
could work.
my idea.
So you're a film guy then. What do you think about Disney doing their own streaming platform? What does that mean for like their movies?
Oh man, the whole streaming thing in general is agitating because I cut cable
Yeah.
years ago because it was just outright. I was like, for cable internet, and at the time they were packaging your phone still with it,
Yep.
like a landline. Well, I had to have a landline too. I had a fax machine for a long time. It was like $250, getting up there towards $300. It was ridiculous, right? So then we did the cut the cord. We went down this pure internet, and then Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and HBO, and like all that together total is like $100 a month, maybe.
Yeah.
For a stint, went back to cable because I wanted to watch UFC fights and I wasn't able to, but then went back. So
Watched the fight last night.
no, I did not because I don't. What the hell did I do last night? I was down here. I think we watched. Night School. Watched Night School, and I worked on a couple episodes because I've got so many recorded. I'm trying
Yeah.
to finish them before I can publish them. But it's before it was like you had no options, and it's like all or nothing, or these packages were really weird. Like one time she wanted to save money, so she switched to the Family Plus package, and it was literally every shopping fucking network and then every kid network, and that was it. Like I came home and sat down to watch like Spike TV. I was like, called her. I was like, what the fuck? Where's my channels at? She's like, oh, it happened already. And I was like, what happened? She's like, I went down to Family Plus, and I was like, cool, shopping and kids shit. That's it. So it was nice to be able to kind of get these streaming services that gave you a little bit of broad range. I've noticed some overlap. Like Hulu and Amazon tend to have a lot of the same things compared to Netflix. But now it's just turning into, I don't want to have 10 different services. We've already talked about cutting a couple because like I get these watch lists that are just insane, and then I'm like, my watch list is giving me anxiety, so I'm gonna just go watch something else, or I'm doing stuff like this, or I'll play video games, or I do wood burning, and I've been working on the pool and going on so like I got a lot of stuff going on, and that's the part of the problem I think is there's gonna be too many because the network stations are doing that now where they're having like you can watch so much content for free or you got to subscribe to something just to be able to watch it. ESPN's done it. I had ESPN Plus just for a little bit for fights and then I just cut it off. So like it's going to turn into, instead of just being like, hey, can we just pick the things that we want and pay for that, it's going to be, oh, well, you're going to use our service, oh, are you going to use our service, and then that's just how it feels like it's going, and that annoys me just as much. Sorry, that was
what do you think about like though like music? We're seeing that CDs are going away and streaming services are starting to take over. But if you think about like streaming services, Hulu's popping up and they're pumping out their own series, like original series.
Right.
And Disney, I would assume, is going to do the same on their streaming platform. Do you think that like you're going to see a similar shift in the film industry from movies to series that we did with like CDs to streaming MP3s?
I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of the movies now, I think the theater experience is possibly in jeopardy. You're seeing a lot of like the bootlegging stuff like that or leaks. Like that new X-Men movie, I guess, tanked at 14 million opening. It was the lowest of any of the X-Men movies, the new one.
Wow.
Which that's a whole separate feelings on that series. But I think there's a very real threat to the movie going experience. But also if you've ever been to a fucking Imagine Theater, like that's awesome. That's like my dream kind of theater, and they're making it better all the time. I went to we go to the one in Rochester to watch movies, and now they've got love seats in the front, like couple seats, and then there's a couple that are the full motion ones and shit. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a toss up. I mean, you're gonna have those people that don't like to go to the movies and that are movie fans, and they'll just wait for it to come out. And I do that with some, but there's other ones that I'm like, I'm going to see that in a theater. I make a point of it because I love that. I love that group feeling when like it's a comedy and everybody's laughing, or we went and seen it, and everyone's and freaking out and stuff. I mean, I love that experience. Much like I would assume, like when you're a band and you get the the music playing and the people are singing along and they're dancing along to your music. Like I like that group feeling.
Yep. Like, I don't think concerts are ever like, people were afraid when VR first started coming out that people are just going to start just putting an Oculus on and going to concerts that way.
Not everyone can afford VR.
Well, yeah. But then people are like, oh, well, they'll be affordable one day, and then everyone can do it. But I really think there's something about feeling just the sub hitting you in the chest at a rock show that you're never going to be able to replace.
Yeah, physically being around other people.
Yeah, that too.
Mosh pits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. Like, there's nothing that replaces that live feeling.
Exactly.
Of being, especially when it's a live performance of something. Like, theater's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why people are still going to go to shows.
Yeah, look how fucking huge Hamilton is. Like,
who the fuck would have thought that was going to be so huge?
Yeah.
Not me.
How do you feel about, especially being a performing group? I mean, it may not really affect you at this point, but the artists that have had issues yelling at people, being on their phones and taking video. I mean, even to me, as someone that's there, like, I get you want to highlight like this moment, but you see people watching the show from their phone, and it's like, yo, you're right here. Just experience it instead of trying to just show everybody what you're doing.
A lot of artists now are doing that pouch that you put your phone in that you have to lock.
Yeah. I went to Kevin Hart.
And he did it?
Yeah, a lot of comics are doing it.
Oh, he didn't?
Kevin Hart was really interesting. So what they did is they told you, from the moment you walk in, you can't have your phone out. If your phone is out and the power is on, you're out. Doesn't matter. And the whole night, like, they came out and the one guy was like, we just played in Ohio last night. He was like 200 people out the door. Don't be an idiot that just spent all this money to go take your girl out and go to the show, and then you're gonna get kicked out because you can't stay off your fucking phone.
Wow.
Like, seriously. And so they had these people, especially like a lot of younger like kids, walking around with glow sticks on necklaces, and we're like, why? What's up with the glow sticks? They see you on the phone, they start spinning that glow stick. You can see it from the other side of the stadium. They start spinning that glow stick, and security.
That seems way too aggressive. Like,
right across from us, whole row.
No,
like
I think
that's
just asking
gone.
To trigger people. Like,
there
are means for people. If you don't want people on your phone, there are those pouches, and they're pretty quick. Like, if you walk out, they can just put
They
them on a
have
little thing.
designated areas
Yeah.
for you to use them.
So part of it was he didn't want you to not have the phones. He waited to the very end. You could take your phone out, take all the photos you fucking wanted. Like the whole place lit up once that part happened. And they said that throughout the
that's a
whole
good
thing.
point.
You will have time to use your phone to take photos at the end. Just during the show, we work hard. We don't want to ruin it for the shows that we haven't made it to, that haven't heard this new material. Don't ruin it. Put your phones away.
Right.
And literally that was it. I mean, it was pretty crazy just to see people and they'd argue, I wasn't on my phone. I don't even have my phone out. Doesn't matter. They said they saw you go.
Yeah. As an artist, I feel like there's not. I don't personally have a take on this. Like, if you want to use your phone at a show, cool.
I
Free
feel like you should be able to allow
Yeah,
to.
I would
for
say,
sure.
someone's coming out, like they're spending their Friday night paying money to come see me play. You should be able to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind. I appreciate the fact that fans, make that decision to even come out and watch our band play.
Because you hear those stories about
Yep.
an artist getting pissed off and stopping the show and yelling at someone for being on their phone or having their phone out. So
There was a who was it? Was it story so someone? Who was it? He was a front
story
man.
story so far, and Every Time I Die had an instant too. So the Story So Far one, they were playing.
Or was it story of the year?
No, it was Story So Far.
too many stories.
Yeah,
all
too
right,
many
too
stories.
many, yeah.
So some chick got up on stage and it was just like selfie time. When she was doing a
Oh.
Snapchat video selfie of herself, like
On
in front of
stage.
Yeah.
where they were letting fans jump on the stage to stage dive off of it,
Right.
because that's what you do at
So
punk
instead of
shows.
stage diving,
She was being an attention whore and saying, "Look at my fucking Snapchat live story." So the singer comes up behind her and Sparta kicks her off the stage.
Like,
And he got,
violently.
He got in huge
yeah,
trouble
huge,
for it.
dude.
sure.
Her neck whipped so
I'm sure,
hard.
Yeah.
but just this is. I love how you described that.
Yeah, it was.
Sparta kicked her. Wow.
If you watch the video later, it's 100% 300. He just drop kicks
Yeah,
this chick.
yeah, he ran from the back of the stage too. It was aggressive.
Yeah, like he
it
got in a
was
bunch of
very
trouble over it. The
aggressive.
girl came out on social media and was like, "I don't blame him for doing this. I'm fine physically," but people still tore him apart. And then the other one that happened was Every Time I Die, a fan did the exact same thing to them. He got up on stage, was doing a selfie video or trying to take selfies with the band while they're playing, and Jordan, the guitar player, he just does like this scissor kick and kicks the phone out of his hand into the audience. So yeah, shit like that, I can see like, okay,
I can
this
see how an artist would react for sure.
that's too much.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
like,
where I would draw the line. But if you're in the audience, you want to take a Snapchat
but you
video,
also have to not attack people or break their property.
right.
well,
yeah.
there's that. Yeah.
An artist is entitled to their opinion, and I think like being on stage, you almost assume responsibility for sharing how you feel. Like that is your
Right.
job once you reach a certain status. And if that's the way you feel, cool. But do it in a way that you're not hurting other people physically or emotionally.
Sparta
You
kicking
know?
girls off stages.
It's not a good look.
Right. And I think a lot of artists, they're like Dashboard Confessional, I think, came out in an interview recently, and he was talking about how he encouraged people to do it like crazy, and he attributes a lot of his success to the
Because
fact
of
that
doing
he,
stuff
yeah,
like
makes you
right,
viral, yeah.
Exactly. So like if you're getting free exposure because someone feels compelled enough to share the fact that they're seeing you right now, I almost take that as a compliment. So if someone's holding their phone up, I'm gonna engage with your phone. Even as a front man, I'll come in the crowd and I'll stare at your phone and I'll bang my head at you.
Have you ever seen an artist perform and do something where it just kind of it just totally changed your opinion of them or turned you off their music at all?
When they perform, not really. Like you'll hear about things people say like on social media.
So I went to Ozfest one year, and I love System of a Down, and it was
Same.
It was when the Toxicity album had come out, so it was all
So good.
all those songs,
Yeah.
you know. And God, I can't remember what his name is, but the guitarist, the smaller, crazier looking guy,
Damien?
who always does the
Or-
high pitched voices and shit.
Yeah.
That guy.
Was just being a dick for no reason, like just pointing out this fat guy in the front of the crowd, and just like I refuse to play till you leave the crowd.
What?
For no
no fucking reason.
What?
Yeah, for no reason. It was like, what the
Fuck.
And it's like, what gets to people? Is it just the fame and you got so many yes men? Or what was, I mean, he eventually apologized and like the guy came back out to the crowd, but literally stopped and was just like, I'm not playing another note till you leave this crowd. You're too fat to be up here in the front, in the crowd. I
That's
don't know. It was
wild.
really crazy.
I mean, you hear
Cody's
stories
losing
like,
his mind laughing
funny.
over it.
Like, what an asshole.
He's like holding his breath.
No, in all reality, no musician should ever just say that. That's such an asshole thing to say.
Yeah, I think like sometimes I think the fame is definitely part of it, but I think what some people don't realize too is if someone's touring a lot,
The stress of that.
there's the stress, but there's also you're not constantly surrounded by like your friends and your family. You're out there by
Yeah.
yourself, and it does take an emotional toll. Like there are a lot of musicians that go through like serious depressive states when they go
sure.
on tour, and I think part of that you get in your own head and you start. There's things that don't really click with you like they would in a normal state of mind. So I think sometimes someone might be trigger happy in what they're saying on stage, and it sucks. But like they probably later that night look back on that and they're like, "Wow, I didn't really even realize what I was saying."
I mean, now in this social media world, though, those things can just
Yeah,
Oh, it can
end
ruin
the-
an
I mean,
artist. Yeah.
ruin someone now.
super detrimental for sure. Yeah.
What's the embarrassing thing that Joe's done that you guys would ruin the band if you got out?
He keeps us to secrecy very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it. You're,
Oh,
you're
the,
really in line over there, Cody.
Well, it's not something that.
I see the eye communication speaking when Joe lets you.
All right, so we're diagonally across the table right now. Like I can't look at him without laughing. Like so I'm trying to avoid eye contact with him.
Oh God, but I don't know. But maybe the tattoo that not I have, but someone else has. That would be my embarrassing thing.
Oh yeah.
You ever get those embarrassing crowd members, like just doing something nuts? Like I've been to shows where there's just that one person like off by themselves, just
Yeah.
Most
yeah.
recently we played a showcase at Hamtramck, and there was this guy. This showcase had a lot of different types of bands on it. Not quite like to that one where we had the comics and the ska hip hop, but there was some very electronically driven bands, heavier bands. And this guy, no matter what band was playing, he was having
going
a
hard
night
in the
of
paint.
his life.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And I
kind of love that guy though. You know, like
No, it
he was
fun to
great.
watch.
Yeah.
but he definitely was the character of the venue that night.
I was gonna say Thomas. I was trying to allude to Thomas with the tattoo thing. So
Yeah.
our friend Thomas has my face tattooed on his butt cheek.
oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the result of a bet from like high school that I didn't even remember. He came back to me like 3 years later. Was like, "Hey man,
Look at my ass.
I did it."
You're like, did what?
Yeah. I'm like, "What'd you do, Thomas?" Dude, look at it.
It's
But,
actually really well done.
really, what are you
It
doing,
looks
man? Keep your
exactly like
pants
your
on.
face.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with him
That's
is that
scary.
like at our shows or like pretty much any excuse he gets, he just gets naked. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever have that? You just the naked people? They just start
yeah, that
stripping
guy.
off?
That's him, Thomas.
So we had that picture of them picking me up at the Rockery show. You can see Thomas.
He's
no
naked
sh-
in
no,
it.
shirt, no shirt, holding me up. Yep.
Not fully naked, but he's shirtless, holding up Pat.
Yep.
Jeez.
So, yeah,
I got flashed once. That was it. I was playing this bar in Utica, and
That's cool.
It was completely dead, like totally dead. It was a nice summer night, and no one was going out to the bar, and there was 2 girls there. So I'm just playing music, and me and the wait staff just hanging out, you know. But it's a paying gig. I can't leave just
Yeah.
because this is dead. This girl's like, "Oh, DJ, you should take a picture with me. Can I lick your ear?" And I'm like, "Wait, chill,
what?
yeah, like crazy, right?
Wow.
Clearly drunk."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we got this party we're going to. You should just leave." And I'm like, "I can't." They're like, "There is no one here. You can." And I'm like, "No, I can't. I'm getting paid." And then it was just, "Hey, DJ." And I look over, and they're like, right before they're going on the stairs, just whip them out.
There they are.
And all the waitresses are standing there, and they just start all making fun of me.
Yeah.
And probably should have went, but
Yeah, I've used to play. I played in a cover band. I played bass in a cover band. Played like local bars before, and we played like Thursday nights, just like the type of bar that's right outside where, the auto workers are coming out and getting there,
yeah.
and there was a crowd there for sure. I've got a few stories of people where they're just like way too rambunctious over absolutely nothing, and it's just like a bar fight breaks out, and it's like a Tuesday night, and there's like 6 people in the bar.
the craziest thing
Yeah.
I ever played was I played a buddy of mine. His sister was getting married to a cop, and they live downtown by Old Tiger Stadium. I think it was before they tore it down, and that was the crazy. Like it was his engagement party. He was going to propose her and like all that stuff, and wanted me to be there and DJ. And I mean, it was a big party. But it was crazy. Like, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Just, I mean, people on top of the garage roof getting naked. Patrol cars pulling up, like, legit. It was nuts. It was crazy. Yeah, it was funny.
Did they have bands playing?
No,
should've played.
I was the only music. Yeah, that was funny.
If anyone out there is throwing a party and wants a band to play,
We will do it for free.
Yeah.
we'll do it for the cost of beer. and
That's an
cheeseburgers.
awesome deal. You
Yeah.
just have to like screaming.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the catch. If you like screaming bands,
Yeah.
we'll do it.
That's the catch.
Or we can play 2 pop punk covers.
Hell, we'll
We
make it
always
3.
play. We'll make it 3. I'll add one. Wow.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
there
whatever
you
you
go.
want. We like to party.
Yeah.
What so what's any shows coming up that anybody could catch you at? I know you guys, you said kind of in flux with the drummer situation and all
Yeah.
that stuff. You don't have an alternate lined up or anything?
Not currently. We're scoping out a couple guys right now. We'll be trying out. So nothing right now is booked. We may try to play a couple shows probably later this year. We guaranteed we'll probably play one around Christmas when everyone's home.
Right. We usually do that. We'll play like a holiday show, either
We'll play
Halloween
with some old members, so we'll probably try to swing something like that. But right now, we've got nothing on the books. We might try to play a show at the Sanctuary soon. That's become
Okay.
like our home venue. Probably the best spot for local music, I'd say, especially this type of music.
Okay.
It's a very awesome place.
Yeah, have you been to that location yet? So they bought Paychecks.
No.
Yeah, so they bought the Paychecks down in Hamtramck. And
Really?
they just basically gave it a facelift, and they kept the original like ceiling and everything, and they took the Paycheck sign down from the back of the stage and just put up the same exact sign, but it
Yeah,
says
neon
Sanctuary.
sign.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's really cool. So they kept a lot of the original vibe there. So if anyone hasn't checked it out,
There
they
was a
should
cool
go check it
place.
out.
There was a cool place down on like 9 and Gratiot when I was a kid. I had a buddy in a band in high school, and what was it called, the Electric Frog or something like that. And it was kind of cool. I mean, it was a huge area. It had a couple pool tables. It was like a juice bar in the front, and then like a venue in the back. But I seen them play there quite a few times. It was cool, and it was, you could be under 18 and go because they didn't serve any alcohol or anything. So it was a really cool opportunity for bands to kind of go play it. I saw the craziest drummer. This guy, I'll move my mic a little bit here. So the whole time with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, lit cigarette, because this was back when you could smoke inside.
Nice.
And the way he drummed
Nice.
looked like he was just running.
Cool.
It looked like he was just running with his cigarette just hanging out of his mouth, just going. And it was the funniest thing. It made me laugh really hard.
That would be entertaining in itself just to watch.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, and the cigarette the whole time just hanging. I mean, like cartoonishly hanging from the corner of his
I
mouth.
like when people go out of their way to smoke cigarettes on stage.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I can't imagine.
It's not a convenient thing to do by any means.
Like when
you
you see
must really need that nicotine.
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, like when you watch videos of Slash and he's smoking a cigarette, like just chain smoking the whole show.
Right.
Yeah, really. Yeah, what was with that venue? It sounds very similar to the Modern Exchange in Southgate, where
Yeah,
they
but-
took the
Yeah.
front of it was a thrift
was a
store.
shop, yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
and then the back was a venue.
Yeah, no, it was a cool place, and then they closed down eventually. A lot of cool places closed down eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's part of the problem, right? Like that would have been a dream thing if I could have opened a bar where I got to I don't care if you don't have a following. You just want to get out and perform.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what else? Maybe you're playing Wednesday night when. Yeah, there might not be a crowd anyway, so
Yeah.
might as well have a band play, give you a chance, right?
Right.
I think people were more willing to go out to local shows maybe like 10 years ago too. Like I don't think people are willing to give it.
It was like a cool thing to do
Yeah.
back in the day. Now it's all
What's the cool thing to do now? I'm so out of touch, and you guys are clearly a younger generation than I am.
the cool thing to do now is to stay home and
Not
stream
go to
music
venues.
and not go to venues.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not checking out a local band.
That's
It's sad for sure. And we'll play with bands, and there are some good bands that we'll play with, and there might not even fit our bill specifically, but there's I still appreciate the musicianship for a lot of the guys that play around this area.
Yeah, I guess just another additional thing to add out to the whole thing is, what doing music, as a hobby, playing a bunch of different places, you meet and hear a lot of different people, and you hear a lot of different bands. And it's really, awesome experience because not everyone is going to be able to hear these amazing bands.
Yeah.
And that are just local bands, no one hardly hears them. And, it's like finding, these little nuggets of gold in the saturated market of music.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
there's so many good bands that I've discovered that I listen to every day just based on shows that we've played locally
Yeah.
that I never ever in a million years would have found
Yeah.
through streaming or the internet.
I think that's was my experience too. That was what I always loved about it, was because like I didn't know what shows my buddy had booked, or like what groups or anything. So it was just like every show, I was just there to play music in between the acts.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going to see either, and I met some really cool people, and that was kind of like I said, the inspiration for a lot of this was those scenarios and just hanging out with these people you would have never met.
Yep.
And those are the true people that you're going to want to connect with too. We were talking about before, like how we want to pump content to YouTube maybe, or just try and get stuff, social media presence, just make it explode. But the bands that are focusing on that are not really in it for the music. If you want to really connect with a real band and see good music, they're focusing on playing live shows. And that's why I think we're getting lucky, is because like we're actually out there playing and having the opportunity to listen to them. Because like I think there are some bands that we've played with that have similar amount of followings that followers we do, and they're still really good.
Yeah.
Like we're not the only band that has like 200 followers and is relatively all right.
Relatively.
Have you ever caught yourself watching that? So like in this, just the episodes, like, is anyone going to even listen to this, right? And just watching, like,
I don't give a shit.
climbing,
We're having fun.
it's climbing,
Yeah.
got to 100. Yeah. Oh man, that means 100 people listen to this, and then like it was funny. My dad, God, so out of touch with stuff. Like he totally didn't understand. What's a podcast? What do you mean a podcast? What are you talking about? It's like, Dad, it's like a radio show, but pre-recorded, and then you can just download it and take it with you anywhere. It's not your time yet, dog. Chill out. So then he came over. We did an episode about Bigfoot and aliens and stuff like that because he likes all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad's real sure of himself. But it was just funny because like the technology part has totally lost him, and he just like doesn't get any. Seriously, dog.
He loves attention.
Nova. This is the first time she's ever gone under the table.
Wow. Coming for you, Cody.
Yeah.
The dog whisperer.
What are you doing? My dog is visiting.
It's okay. We love animals.
We here at Ogemaw County love
Yes.
all things nature.
Yes.
Oh, yep. See, and that's the problem with her tail. But no, it was just funny seeing like how he was out of touch with all that stuff, and I think that's just I appreciate that part still, right?
Yeah.
The people doing it organically still and making those connections, which is cool. Like I try to support as much as I can. Like I went to a film festival recently that was Detroit Voices, which a guest of mine, someone that I went to high school with a long time ago, ended up being in film. So that was kind of cool. We connected to the episode, went out to support he was one of the coordinators for Cinetopia Film Festival. So that was like across Ann Arbor, Detroit and everything. He was one of the coordinators for the Detroit part. And then he had the Detroit Voices, which was all local Detroit filmmakers. So it was cool to go see that and then actually get to meet some of those people. So I've been reaching out to them like, hey, tell your story behind. They do like a visual thing. You guys do the music, right? And there's obviously an emotion there or something that inspires you to write or to make that music. And then we have these people that do, visual. I'm not used to the mic being right in front of me. It's usually like Joe's. Yeah. That's how I always had it set up. But then speaking like this, the mics were picking up a little bit. So like when I moved it to this corner, everything sounded tinny to me from my point of view. So I was like, man, how can I move mics to make it so they're a little better and not so crazy?
Yeah.
So, but no, that's been the cool part, is the networking and meeting
I think it's a cool time to do that type of stuff in Detroit too, for sure. I think
with
like
the Renaissance.
there's so much different types of people collaborating that otherwise wouldn't have collaborated. There's a lot of different programs that I don't think wouldn't exist if there wasn't everything coming back to the city. I think it's a cool time to be here and be a musician, just because there's so much history here in Detroit with music.
Right, with music,
with techno and a lot of the rock roots. And if there's a resurgence happening here in Detroit, to be a musician, the music is going to follow suit, I think, with the revitalization of the city. So it's a cool time to be here with all the opportunity.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's putting us at like an hour and a half. That's pretty.
Oh wow.
Pretty good.
We're talking for a while.
So
Nice.
before we wrap
We're really
up,
full of shit.
before we wrap up, I want to introduce what the fuck. What's the thing that made you say what the fuck like in the last couple of weeks that just stands out?
In the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, just some.
Man, I gotta think.
For me, it was.
Yes.
I can tell you mine because I was super pissed off because it took place over like 2 hours the other day. So I think it was Wednesday. So Tuesday. Okay, owning a pool is sweet but sucks, and
right.
especially in ground because with all that rain, it can run into my pool. So I opened it on Memorial Day. I think I took the cover off. Been trying to get the water clear. Like, dude, it was like poopy brown. Then it turned like after about 8 to 12 gallons of chlorine, liquid chlorine, it turned like a nice pond scum yellow green color, and then it started getting blue. And then finally I was like, oh, all my levels are like right where they need to be on Wednesday morning. And then it rained Wednesday, and I came home, and it was still blue, and I was like, sweet. And then 2 hours later, it was green and cloudy. Couldn't see, and I was like, just like, what the fuck?
Mine, what the fuck? I was over in Europe for about a week and a half.
Oh.
Yeah, Cody was house sitting for me. But I was over in Italy and Malta. My what the fuck moment was just seeing how traffic works over there. There's like no rules. You can go fucking 120 miles
There's
down.
no rules here.
There's no.
Dude, no, you don't understand. Have you ever been over there?
No.
Holy
My cousin
shit,
lives
man.
in England, but I know I've never been over there.
Go over there and check out how people drive. It is bananas. Like, I was terrified every cab ride we did. People are out of their fucking minds.
Did you do any driving there, or did you
Hell
just?
no. I never will after I saw that shit.
I think I say a what the fuck moment every evening.
Every evening.
At my dog. I have this tiny little Shih Tzu Yorkie. She's awesome. She's really cool, but she has the worst breath ever. And for whatever
that
reason,
Pomeranian, holy shit.
yeah, it's really bad. But for whatever reason, she's the neediest thing ever, and just will not stop yipping my face constantly. So it's a constant what the fuck.
Nice. That sucks. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Gross.
That one, the Pomeranian, is the most lickinest dog I've ever known. She licks everything: walls, couches, pillows, carpet, the table. It does, dude. One day I was sitting in my chairs like out there, and the garbage can isn't too far away, and she was going to town on that garbage can, like just outside of the garbage can for no reason. I'm like, stop. And then the breath, and then the licking with the breath. It's just like,
Yep, it's a combo.
oh god,
It's really bad.
All right, mine. Joe actually just refreshed my memory of a good what the fuck moment that involved watching his dog, which I did while he was gone over there.
Sweet Wendy.
He has an adorable little French bulldog named Wendy, and a nice gross thing I found out that Wendy has the talent of doing is when the dog goes outside to take a poop. It it has the capability of.
It's like it's a superpower.
It literally is. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is.
You would think so too. It has the capability of launching this poop
Launches shit.
rapid
Like a
velocity
gun.
out of its butt. And when I watched it, I said, "What the fuck?"
She weighs like 15 pounds. She will shoot a turd 5 feet. I'm not even bullshitting you.
No exaggeration.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I've never heard anyone.
I was so caught off guard by it.
No, it's jarring for sure the first time you see it.
Holy crap! Is there video evidence of this?
No, I'll take one tonight and send it to you.
He's just out there recording his
Does
dog
it happen daily?
violently shitting.
Not daily. It's
Is it
like
certain foods, or you give her a treat?
no, she just eats dog food. We don't feed her table food. She gets
man.
spoiled whenever I take her to work though, because people just give her like a little snack here and
so
there.
you bring her.
Yeah, but usually like it's just random times. She'll just launch a turd like 5 feet.
Yeah, like imagine, like shaking up a bottle of like champagne and
And then pop in the cork. Kills the owl in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, just with my dog's ass. instead.
All right, so you've got a dog. You've got a dog.
Yeah.
I've got 2 dogs. Do your dogs ever roll in just shit? So look, when we bought this house, there was like a kitty condo in the backyard, like legit, like built kitty apartment building in the back corner of my yard.
Wow.
And we were like, that's going. And so there's a few cats. I think the neighbors feed them or something, but there's a few cats that run around. She goes nuts and acts like, someone's trying to break into the house and she sees a cat or squirrel out there. But these fucking dogs love the rolling cat shit. Like if it's
So not even their own.
No, cat shit.
No,
Man, who
I don't
doesn't?
know what it is. Our dog, we have a cat too, and the
The litter
Shit,
box?
yeah.
Eats poop out of the litter box.
Constant.
Yeah, like a fucking
Oh,
kitty litter
yeah,
treat.
candy.
Yeah, it's the grossest thing.
Tootsie Roll time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no wonder your dog's breath stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wendy,
for sure.
she doesn't roll around and shit or mess with shit that much, but I do have to wipe her ass every time she poops.
What?
Swear to God.
Why?
I don't know. It's like if a person shit outside.
You figure if it was coming out that high velocity,
Yeah.
it's cleaning itself up.
No, there's always a little bit of blowback, like a gun.
The Pomeranian's bad because if you don't keep their butt trimmed,
Yeah.
it'll stick
yeah.
to
Oh,
that. And then
dingleberries,
like
yeah.
she'll come in and jump on my bed, and I'll be like, "Oh, cool."
Yes.
Yeah.
We almost made it a full hour and a half without turning into fifth graders.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
We almost did. We almost did at one point.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming
Thank
back
you for
out.
having us.
No,
Or
thank
for
you.
coming
Yeah.
out here. What's your channel, all your stuff to?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Ogemaw County, on Facebook, Ogemaw County MI. You can search us on Spotify. We got
Apple Music.
Apple Music, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, thank you anyone who gives us the time of day to check us out. We all really appreciate it.
Yeah, and keep an eye on our social media. Come out for a show.
Yeah, I'll
Have a good
definitely
time
have to
with
come
us.
out for a show. I know Mallory and Chris have come out for a show. Was
Yeah,
that
they've been
interest-
to a few of them. Yeah.
Has that been interesting? Because Mallory can get pretty Malloried.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool.
I was
having people-
expecting you to say that was like your most embarrassing fan.
No, she was chill. Yeah, but having those guys come out is always a blast. It's nice that people from work are supporting me. Yeah, Chris has been really into the music stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he listens to us all the time. He bought an LP. He asked us all
Awesome.
to sign it. So, yeah, everyone who supports us, it makes our day. Anytime you buy a record or just tell us that you like it.
Yeah, I got a buddy who tells me he listens to us when he works out. And
Yeah,
I
so
could,
do
I could,
That's the
I
best
could
feeling.
totally see that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we try to put on as entertaining of a show we can every time that we play, so we'll make it worth it. It'll be
Yeah.
worth your time to come out to a show.
For
Awesome.
Sure.
Well, I'll put up the links that you guys said in the episode, and then anyone listening, you want to check out Ogemaw County, you'll know where to go.
Yep.
Again, thanks for listening. I'm JP. This was The Get Up. Thanks for listening to The Get Up. Make sure to check out thegetupshow.com for more information on this episode's guests. While you're there, check out other episodes, leave a comment, or if you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, shoot an email to contact@thegetupshow.com. Don't forget to follow, like, and share on Facebook at The Get Up Show Podcast. Follow on Instagram and Twitter at The Get Up Show, and subscribe to The Get Up YouTube channel. The Get Up is available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts.